Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Moments. Just one moment at the airport. No drama. No exaggerated actions. So why is it that every time Jimin and Jungkook stand close to each other, the reaction always feels so excessive? Not because something is being staged, but because there is nothing to deny in what is seen. A quiet closeness. Natural. And far too consistent to be called a coincidence. Today, we're going to talk about why it's often the smallest moments that trigger the greatest unease. As we all recently witnessed, Jimin and Jungkook arrived at the airport together with the rest of BTS. A scene that should feel completely ordinary. 7 members of a group that has spent over a decade together, walking side by side after an official schedule. Yet, as so often happens, this simple moment sparked anything but a simple reaction. For many fans, seeing BTS together is a source of happiness, a reminder of the bond they have built over the years. But for others, especially when their eyes land on Jimin and Jungkook standing close to each other, discomfort immediately arises. Not because anything excessive occurred, but precisely because there is nothing they can deny about what they see. Every time Jimin and Jungkook appear together, a pattern emerges, one that is hard to ignore. Their closeness never feels forced, theatrical, or attention-seeking. It exists naturally, in the distance between their bodies, in the direction of their gaze, in the way Jungkook instinctively moves closer to Jimin. Ironically, it is this very naturalness that becomes the main target of criticism. A recurring narrative pushed by some is that Jungkook is being forced by the company to stay close to Jimin, that these moments are the result of direction, scripting, or a marketing strategy. But this claim collapses the moment it is compared to Jungkook's own expressions. There is no tension, no awkwardness. What we see instead is the opposite. Jungkook looks the most relaxed, the brightest, and the most like himself when he is by Jimin's side. His smile is different. Wider, lighter, effortless. Not a smile meant to be shown, but one that slips out naturally, as if his body reacts faster than his thoughts. This was especially clear in one small moment that sparked widespread discussion, when Jungkook held onto Jimin's jacket while they were lining up at airport security. The gesture was incredibly simple, not dramatic, not performed for the camera. Yet precisely because of its simplicity, its meaning becomes powerful. Jungkook didn't seek attention. He didn't look toward the cameras. He didn't wait for a reaction. He simply made sure Jimin's jacket wouldn't fall, wouldn't drag, wouldn't get in the way of his steps. A small act of care done purely on instinct. Some tried to downplay this moment, saying it meant nothing. But anyone who truly pays attention knows this. Care for such small details doesn't appear out of nowhere. It comes from closeness, from concern that has already become internalized. Jungkook didn't think about doing it, he just did. There was no force, no direction, no need for explanation. It happened simply because that is the natural dynamic between them. Another moment just as telling was when Jungkook lightly jogged to catch up to Jimin, who had already walked ahead. Attempts to rationalize this scene quickly followed. Some claimed Jungkook was merely falling behind. But that explanation falls apart when we consider one fact. Taeyong was actually behind Jungkook at that moment. The meaning is clear. Jungkook wasn't chasing the group. He was chasing Jimin. The decision was spontaneous, unplanned, an emotional reflex that reveals a simple truth. Jungkook wanted to be by Jimin's side. In the middle of a busy public space, surrounded by other members, Jungkook still chose the person who makes him feel the most comfortable. These small actions may seem insignificant when viewed in isolation. But when the same pattern appears repeatedly, across different situations over many years, it becomes difficult to keep calling it a coincidence. There is a consistency here that cannot be fabricated. Unfortunately, there are always those who try to twist the meaning of these moments. Not because of a lack of evidence, but because they have already decided that Jungkook should be with someone else. Any reality that contradicts that belief must be rejected, no matter how clear it appears. Yet the harder the denial becomes, the more visible the truth is. Jungkook always looks for Jimin, and that happiness is never hidden. It shows in his body language, in the distance he maintains, in the direction his steps naturally take. The same can be said for Jimin. Around Jungkook, Jimin appears more relaxed. His shoulders drop. His expression softens. There is a consistent warmth, not a fleeting burst of excitement. This is not a one-sided dynamic. It is mutual, a balance that can only exist when two people genuinely feel safe with each other. For years, some Jikook fans have criticized the closeness between Jimin and Jungkook, calling it fake, manipulative, or company-driven. The irony emerges when those same people now celebrate every piece of Jikook content released by Dispatch, treating it as unquestionable truth. What is often forgotten, or deliberately ignored, is that Dispatch also has a working relationship with HYB. If Jikook's closeness is dismissed as staged, why isn't the same logic applied elsewhere? The answer is simple. The goal is not truth, but validation. Dispatch recently shared a short video of Jungkook and Taehyung at the airport, showing them casually recording something, an entirely ordinary activity. Yet because of the Dispatch label, the moment was instantly elevated into a major narrative, as if it carried hidden confirmation. But when compared honestly, there is no interaction between Jungkook and Taehyung that reflects the same level of intimacy Jungkook consistently shows with Jimin. There is no recurring pattern, no repeated body language, no visible emotional pull. With Jikook, the media doesn't even need to construct a story. Their actions speak for themselves. They show care, companionship, and closeness without any official statements. They are present for each other consistently, on stage, behind the scenes, and in transitional moments never meant for public consumption. The most striking difference in this relationship is its consistency. Over the years, the same patterns continue to surface. Jungkook looks for Jimin after performances. Jimin notices Jungkook's condition even before Jungkook does himself. They understand each other without words. These are the details often missed by those who only glance briefly. A light touch on the back to calm. A subtle interruption to protect. A body position that unconsciously becomes a shield when one of them feels overwhelmed. These are not habits that can be taught through company direction. They also know when to share with the public and when to keep things private. There is a clear boundary, an unspoken agreement that can only exist when two people truly understand each other. In the end, words can be denied. Narratives can be twisted. But actions never lie. A gaze held just a second longer. A grip released quickly upon noticing the camera. Private trips never announced. None of it requires confession. And one thing is the hardest to deny of all. Jimin and Jungkook look the most comfortable when they are together. That kind of compatibility cannot be engineered. It cannot be forced, trained, or consistently imitated over many years. It simply exists. And from everything we can see, without any official confirmation, that is what defines the depth of their bond. Words can be denied. Narratives can be twisted. But body language never lies. Jimin and Jungkook don't need to explain anything. They simply walk side by side. And right there, the truth becomes visible. Thank you for watching Jikook Moments. See you in the next story.